Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by Sportsman's Warehouse and the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. We talk to our good friend Allan Houston in studio with us from the UT extension part over at Ames Plantation. And, of course, this is first Saturday. Dave Gabbert is out in Hawaii, and he's going to be with us through the next couple of segments, and then he'll have to step up. Well, you need to take a little nap.
I said it's a rough job, but somebody's got to do it.
Well, we want you to go back to bed so you'll be live and well for
1 o'clock out here.
Yeah, I know it. Well, you haven't been to bed yet. That luau was. I can just imagine you shaking all those pineapples and everything.
I thought about you when that big spread was out there. The way you eat, boy, you'd just been in your element.
No, I wouldn't want to see that pig laying in the ground knowing how bad my football team is at Arkansas. So, I don't usually eat pork during football season, but everybody else is, so might as well. But
that's right.
Hey, I know, Allan, tell us about, and you guys can. I've never been able. It was on my bucket list. Allan's talked to me a couple of times about it. Dave has been out there, and Allan was in Colorado?
Yes.
He was in Colorado. What part of Colorado were you in?
Well, Denver, go west, not too far from Vail, Eagle, place out there if people are familiar with it, called Flat Tops.
All right. Now, Dave, when you have gone, did you go to New Mexico or did you go to Colorado? Where'd you go?
Well, all the elk I've ever killed was in Wyoming.
Wyoming.
My friend has got the ranch out in New Mexico. I've been out there several times with him just to help with him, like you said, do the cooking in camp, when he doesn't have a bunch of hunters. So, that's a lot of fun. But, there's nice elk there. But all the elk I've ever put on the ground been in Wyoming.
And now, so Allan, talk about this experience. You've been how many times out there?
Oh, I don't know, several now.
Several times, but this one, transporting you got a nice one. You had to pack him all up, get him back to the camp, and talk about. Tell us, Allan. I want to know.
You're going to skip all of over the good stuff.
But
well,
no. Well, you can explain the good stuff in a hurry.
All right. Well, it's like you normally do. You glass and glass until you see them, and try to get some anticipation of where they're going to go the next morning. Then you try to be there. Well, we guessed pretty close to right, and we did get into one, and got up close enough to shoot him. And, of course, close enough to shoot him out there is, you can hardly walk that far. Because,
that's right,
a 350-yard shot is fairly much a chip shot.
Okay.
Okay, how to get the meat home. You walk up to the thing, and it's there's a bunch of animal laying on the ground. I mean, his nose is as big as a car battery. And so in order to be able to get him
It
out,
is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big animal.
Yeah.
And we skinned him there, quartered him there, and took 5 of us to get him out. We did get him back, got him hung, then let him chill down.
Yeah.
And then start to debone him out really, really good, get as much meat as you can, put it in the coolers. My idea was to bring back with dry ice.
Okay.
And the guy said, don't do that. Get block ice. That's better. And it was. That was a better idea.
Okay. Block ice.
Yeah, block
okay.
ice. Got my coolers full, put the meat on top, and here I come. Working great.
You driving by yourself?
Driving by myself, and lost one credit card, and the other quit working, so I was almost thumbing. So
that's a whole other thing. So.
Well, that's one of
it's part of it. Okay.
So when I get home.
Yes.
One more night to lay in there, doing fine. I check it, get it up the next morning. I start working. It takes me 8 hours, not grinding it now.
Okay.
8 hours to work it up and get it in the freezer. About 2 days later, got everything cleaned up. About 2 days later, my Suburban. Well, I noticed dogs beginning to follow it.
Here we go, guys. Yeah. You listen to this, Dave?
Looked to me like dogs wanting to roll in it. So I thought, this is not good. So I traced it down, and sure enough, this cooler that had not given any evidence of leaking had indeed leaked up under a seat. And after several days and in the heat, it had, oh my goodness, it was. I scrubbed it. I vacuumed it. I poured spirits on it. I did everything I could possibly do. Nearly set it on fire.
Okay.
And it was kind of like dipping a skunk in tomato soup.
There we go.
It wasn't working.
Okay, it wasn't working. All right. Okay.
So out come the back seats, up comes the carpet. All the backing under there has to be thrown away, and it was just my Suburban now. It looks like an unmade blanket back there, bed. So I've got still some more work to do, but at least my wife rode down with me. She was able to stand it. So
she wants you to drive it to church. I mean, you wanted to take it to church so you can. Well, the dog's still trailing you. I mean,
well, yeah. And now the word "pew" takes on another meaning. It was pretty well awful. So I'll probably write a story about what not to do.
I think you ought to. The elk meat turned out okay.
Oh, it didn't hurt it at all.
Okay, all right. Now, so Dave, you as a cook.
You can cook my carpet.
You can cook his carpet for you, Dave. So I know as a cook at an elk camp, the duties there are not like in the movie Red River when Walter Brennan's driving all the way across all those kind of things. The duties for you is when they bring the elk in, or you're cooking for the guys, right?
Right. Well, most of the elk camp that out there, you get up. I have to set my alarm like at 3 o'clock, and get something light for them to, coffee, and they eat usually something light going out.
Yeah.
And then they hit, and then I found it easier just to, if they kill something, it takes them longer to get in. But if they don't, they're drifting back in, and I found it easy. I just short order cook them like at a Waffle House.
Okay. You're the
about anything they want. But supper is the thing you got to, because if they kill one, half hour before dark, it's going to be a while before they get in. So you got to usually have something that, you cook a lot of stews and chili and something like that can be warmed and something, and.
Well, you're the cook man. Now, this man brought his back, so to speak, and had this experience that I've never heard of before. And
nobody else will tell you.
Nobody else will tell you. Now, I know the rules and regulations have changed, and so you followed everything. It's just that you didn't know. And you need a new cooler? Is that what you're begging for right now over the air?
No, I need a tarp.
You need a tarp?
Well, I had a tarp, but I trusted my cooler. I did several mistakes, and
you did.
One being not looking under the back seat, but it hid
for
from
2
me.
days.
Yeah, well, cooler, good.
Yeah.
Tarp, perfect.
Yes.
Suburban, if you're in a pickup truck and it's in the very back, you don't really care so much.
Yeah.
But you don't need to trust anything. And the block ice was a good idea because, and I will mention this, if you've got, say, a Suburban or something like that, a bunch of dry ice is a dangerous thing to have in the vehicle with you because as it sublimates, it releases carbon dioxide, and that'll just croak you right out.
And then, of course, the drive back takes how long?
Oh, it took 2 days, about 20 hours.
Not counting the lost credit card. We don't want to get into that because that's a whole other things happen to Allan. I just
look. I found that the other credit card would work at the little mom and pop places, so I'd have to go all over town to get it to work to get gas. So it took a while. Took about 20. If you're just driving, 22 hours.
Yeah. But you weren't just, you did take some breaks.
Oh, man, I take books. I listen to book tapes. I'm just like an in-flight movie.
Talking to Allan Houston here out at Ames Plantation about his elk hunting trip, and I know that I've never had a segment where we got elk in Colorado and Dave Gabbert in Hawaii. I mean, this, I don't know how to segue into these two different things, because Dave is in the bird capital of the world because there are people that will flock, no pun intended,
migrate.
Migrate, to Hawaii for this. But, Dave, in your experience, I got to ask you for the experience. You've been there before, but you hadn't been to this island.
I've never been to this island, and it was funny coming in. I was sitting there talking to a lady that that has a place over here, and she was flying in, and she said this island, Kauai, she said it was, they call it the Garden Island, but she said it also has got the nickname, this is the island for newlyweds and nearly deads.
Newlyweds and nearly deads. I think I understand that.
Newlywed over here, honeymooning, or you're retired over here.
Okay,
so,
well that's the.
But it's
just moving.
But I want to give a shout out. Allan was talking about memories and stuff. But this past weekend of youth hunts, my son, took my grandson out, and he
right.
bagged his first deer.
All right.
You know,
yeah.
last Saturday. So
great.
You know,
yeah.
so it,
that was
they braved the weather and everything. So
it was some weather. Yeah, it was some real weather. You know that. So where did he kill that deer?
He killed it up on my Lance's farm up there in Henry
Good.
County.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
The first day they hunted, our place, and they seen deer, but never did, get to work in the position. And but the next day, it's so funny. He said, my son said, well, after he shot this deer, they, nice little spike. He said it weighed about 75 pounds on the hoof, And
it'll get bigger over the years.
But,
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I told him. I said, well, once it's cut up, you can increase the weight 300 pounds and the distance at least 400 yards.
Well, we haven't asked. How big was your elk, Alan?
Oh, laying there, 600 pounds or something like that.
Was it a what?
4x4.
Mr.
Two brow tines, 4x4.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I've seen a picture of it. Yeah, It's got the it's even branded over there. It says AH branded on the side of the elk. I've never seen that in it looked more like a cat. Are you sure it was a? Yeah, okay, yeah.
It had rope burns around the neck.
Yeah, rope burns around.
I'm going to write a book on how to take these pictures. Make stuff look big.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Well, just make sure it looks like an elk, not a cattle. Okay, that's what I was afraid of.
Yeah, my wife caught a couple of brim, and every time she tells a story that gains a few ounces, I said, "You gonna keep on? You gonna beat the world record?"
Through that. Hey, well, we appreciate. We're going to have to take a break on this, and Alan, thank you. Stick around for another segment here, if you would, and so is Dave is going to stick around. They both got to get out of here after that, but it's kind of really strange here because here we started with elk hunting in Colorado. We've got Dave in.
And we got
in,
Vic
in
there in the studio.
Well, we haven't got to Vic yet,
no,
but
not yet.
we got you from Raleigh,
and
yeah. Me from Germantown, and then we're going straight to Billings, Montana.
All right,
on our next segment.
I'm ready.
If you've ever been lost in your life, a topo map is important. Right. It is for all of us. That's right. Let's take a break. Come right back. You guys hang on. This is Outdoors with Larry Ray on this November the 2nd. We'll be right back.